Happy New Year. It has been a while since we've chatted, and I'll touch on that, fill in some blanks, but then we've just got to talk about 2024, and OMG, buckle up. We've got a discombobulated ride, so pour a cup, get cozy in a blanket, and let's spill some tea. Alright, in this video, I'm gonna get real about a few things, so take what resonates for you and just shrug off the rest, because we're not all on the same path. But I think a lot of us are actually on convergent journeys, because some of you just keep coming back here. To me, that's fantastic. That's connection. If you're watching my videos and actually enjoying it, well, as far as I'm concerned, we're soul family. End of story. And thank you for being here. Now, before we can move into 2024, I feel like I need to tidy up some frayed ends from 2023. Regular viewers will know that I always share my spiritual, mystical journey and work and progress with all of you. I try to be transparent about that because we're all in this soup. Or is it a tossed and finely chopped salad? Anyway, when last we left it, I was undertaking a large, year-long ritual to banish despair. We had a couple of videos dissecting the issue and performing the initiatory ritual, and I kept up with that for a few months. Your girl does not quit a year-long project partway through. But something changed. Something shifted. If you'll remember from one of my last videos, I observed that the whole world seems to have shifted this last late spring, early summer. Just the ambient vibe is so different, to me anyway, to the point where leaving the house is an entirely different experience than it ever used to be. And yeah, everyone keeps asking me whether reality has changed or the deep soul work I did leading up to this just changed my perception of reality. I mean, I get the apparent causality there. It's not lost on me. But I really don't think that's it. I maintain that I changed my own energy well before this shift. And while my relationship with reality did change for the better, the reality around me did not change until the summer of 2023. And so part of that, I believe, affected my banishing ritual process, in that the whole project was designed for the energetic matrix at that time. And as everything shifted, I was trying to weave old threads that were no longer attached to the loom. It's not that the ritual wasn't effective or that the process was ill-conceived. It's that the ether around me, around all of us, literally changed. It's a whole different operating system. And that's okay, because I'm so freaking here for it. And what shifted? For me, it's a preponderance of synchronicities that largely manifests in having positive interactions with strangers. I've never experienced this before. It's like the damn Twilight Zone, but in a good way. And that strangely auspicious circumstance has continued. Continuously. It's still going on. I'm actually getting used to it. And when I leave the house now, I'm looking forward to whatever interactions will come my way. Those of you who know me in real life can pick your jaws up off the floor. I know. It's insane. This is affecting my misanthropy. So there's been an abandoning of old spells, those which had been cast into the old ether, the old energy matrix. Along those lines, I have, for a long time, been holding on to an abundance wall that was my mother's. She decommissioned it a while ago, and rightly so. It was getting rough, but I didn't feel good about trashing it. It was a very productive vision board in its day, and for me, it's always tricky retiring permanent or semi-permanent magical items. It can be done, of course, but it must be respectful and well-timed. Recently, organizing the house, I ran across these pieces and recognized that they were done. Just done. The energetic shift, whatever it is that's changed, somehow just voided them out. So, off they go to my next bonfire. Now, personally, I've been through so much more shifting in the last year than just this. As if the entire ether changing channels wasn't enough. The last several years of my life have been fraught with transformation. Some of it intentional, which I have shared on this channel, but a lot of it was completely out of my control. Well, 2023 made all that look like a cakewalk. I am not entirely sure how to describe it. I've just been offline. Like, yes, literally not present on social media, but I mean in real life, with the real world. Offline. Like in a bubble. And I'm already a hermited introvert. So imagine how deeply inward I've been. And to really close out 2023 and kick it in the ass goodbye, I feel like I need to talk about what happened. So nobody knows this. Like, nobody. So this is just between us. I don't remember exactly when in the last year this happened. I didn't write it down because I was never going to tell anyone about this because it's too weird and too vulnerable. And I didn't want someone finding my journal after I died and reading it and deciding I was a freaking crazy person. But that ship has sailed. So, fuck it. If there's a chance my experience could be useful to someone else going through something, I guess I'll share. You'll remember, perhaps, that last year I was dealing with the creeping in of despair. I think this is related, although it's not that entirely. I've had a painful go of things. We've talked here a bit about how much trauma I was handed from pretty much birth, and I've doggedly spent my life actively trying to work on myself, to heal, to repair the damages. But my woundings are such that by the time I've recognized and tended them, they've already caused other, often deeper woundings. You know the saying, hurt people hurt people? Well, damaged people keep getting damaged. People have always responded negatively to me, to the point I've long been convinced there's something very obviously off-putting about me that I am somehow totally blind to. It's been one of the great frustrations of my life and a large part of why I hermit myself away. Additionally, as much work as I've done on myself, social woundings require social healing. It cannot be done as a DIY project. I've had to accept this, listening to psychologists post videos about childhood or chronic PTSD. And there's just so much in me that requires compassionate, safe, friendly, patient human interaction to even start to heal. But my wounds just keep getting deeper and deeper to the point no one wants to socialize with me in any meaningful way. It's like social leprosy or something. So The point here is that over the decades, rather than catching up to have a healthy soul, I have a soul gouged out with an equivalence to the Grand Canyon. In short, there are vast swaths of me that are just not there. I know you love me. You're so nice to me. Oh my goodness. I get a lot of social kitty cat healing. I do. Imagine trying to function like a real person when most of you has been ripped away or simply necrosed. Imagine the destruction, the persistent smell of carrion, and I don't have access to anything that would help repair it. This isn't something I can heal myself. Shit. This is so embarrassing. Are you okay? Oh my god, don't spit everywhere. But you need to know this to understand what happened. From time to time, this damage in me comes to mind and rather upsets me. I'm sure you can imagine, and it came to mind several months ago. I'm gonna say late summer, I think. And I was very upset and frustrated because I need a help that I cannot access for myself. And I feel like I've got so much to do in this life, and there's not enough of me left to manage much of anything, and it's not fair. It was one of those screaming to the heavens kinds of a moments, only it was really more whimpering than screaming. I've been kind of resigned to my fate, honestly. And I've been in that place many times, but something happened this time. I suspect that what happened couldn't have happened until it did because of that energy shift that was coming through, but I'm only guessing. I'm not sure how or why on the timing here. There have been so many times I've asked my guides for help and felt that nothing happened. But this time was different. Perhaps I was responding to an intuitive prompting? I'm in the dark here, but I lay myself down on the daybed. That one that's a blanket fort tent dedicated to Sekhmet? Yeah, that one. I'm glad I made that. Anyway, I lay down and said, okay, do whatever. Anything you can or will do, please feel free. I don't remember exactly what I said. As I've mentioned, I've been in this spot many times, but this time, the strangest thing happened. You've got to stop, babe. You've got to stop. My guides or helpers of some kind surrounded me, and they worked on me, and I could feel it, like these opaque white tendrils of something filtering, working into me, all over me, and they were constructing lattice in all the canyons and ravines of my soul. Visually, somewhat like spider webs, but functionally like scaffolding. They were installing some kind of framework inside of all the missing places in my spirit's landscape. Like filling the chasms in my remaining flesh with a loose but sturdy patchwork of cybernetics. I could see that, like bridges over a ravine, these scaffolds would allow functionality, as if the land were still there. I could see or understand that they were not repairing the damage itself. They were not truly healing me. But these structures would allow me to function as if I were whole. Superficially, anyway. They would allow me to get shit done. And perhaps keep the canyons from growing deeper. Unfortunately for me, genuine healing, like having a solid, tight, supportive community, is simply not available. Maybe not in this lifetime. But my guides did give me an amazing gift. They Frankensteined my spiritual body so that everything will at least work. Like, imagine most of my torso is missing, and this scaffolding allows for muscles, tendons, blood vessels to work across the void, like some of my organs are all or partially synthetic. It's like a sci-fi movie from the 80s. I know, it's bizarre. Like, I really was never gonna talk about this. It's too out there. So anyway, between that and the great energetic shift that happened, 2023 was a lot. And yes, I have been very busy with work, but a lot of why I haven't been producing much content is because I've been in that bizarre cocoon of transformation. And I'm trying to find a new normal and accept that I may have a ravaged soul, but it's been patched with duct tape, so we're gonna roll with it. So, now, 2024. I'm so here for it, but it's gonna be a wild ride, y'all. The final analysis should be positive, but getting there is going to be rocky at times. From what I understand, these energetic upgrades will not only continue, but ramp up. And while that's great news for those of us who have spent our lives waiting for this moment in history, there are still a lot of people on the planet who are not feeling in alignment with this shift, and the more it intensifies, the more freaked out they're going to get. And ontological panic makes people do some messy shit. Do you remember learning in grade school about all the wars we've had? I do. I remember that I hated history because all we ever learned about was the history of warfare and conquest and empire, not the actual history of humanity. I remember specifically learning about the Holocaust. You know, the last one, back in the 40s, and thinking to myself, how glad I was that we learned from that and weren't in a world that awful now. Oh, I'm sorry. Too soon? So yeah, we're going to see some continued flailing in our world, and I don't want my enthusiasm for what is coming to sound like I am blind to or unaware of the chaos and horror that is flaring up and playing out. But while the news reports on human horrors, there is a steady current of change, and a lot of us are feeling it. Some are saying that the solar flares are part of it. I don't know how I feel about that, but I mean, the timing is pretty interesting, so who knows? Those positive synchronicities that started last summer are still happening, to the point I'm impatient to see what's going to happen. The crazy thing is, I'm actually expecting good things to happen. It's gotta be a new world, folks, if that's where I'm at. As well, perhaps not related, but perhaps somehow related, I am riveted to the non-human intelligence disclosure process. It's happening so slowly. But for those of us who have been watching this discussion since the 70s and 80s, the fact that any progress at all has happened is mind-blowing and world-changing, and I cannot wait! I'm looking forward to attempting to initiate some CE5 when it warms up a little outside. I don't know how that's gonna go, but I might as well participate in the effort, in this movement, in any way I can. It's damn well past time we recognize that we are part of a galactic or universal community, and we really do need to work past that stage of being chimpanzees beating on an obelisk. In my opinion. Now, back to Earth and her current energy process. I don't think it's a coincidence that one of the hot new interior design trends for 2024 is about creating moody spaces. Dark, cozy, comfy, warm, emotionally aware spaces full of personal vibes. Collectively, I think we are kind of done with and over the hyper-focus on multiple layers of functionality in our living spaces that COVID kind of mandated. Everyone was making communal spaces into multi-purpose classrooms, family rooms, offices. It was a lot. And so, the den is coming back. And I love it. One of the designers I watch, GarrettLeChic, suggested that for 2024, it's time to embrace the moodiness.
Now, I mentioned a moody space before, and that is what I think we need to talk about for 2024, because it's all about the moody space.
This may be the first time that design trends match up with my personal aesthetic, honestly, so I'm here for it. And anyway, the moody den vibe works well with what I'm working on for myself currently, which is honing my intuition. I was born with a very sharp intuition, but organized religion taught me to suppress it at all costs. So, reconnecting with my intuition is a process, and I'm trying to focus on that. Collectively, in 2024, what a lot of energy intuitives are prescribing for us is a focus on heart energy. There's a common belief we're working toward a fifth dimension consciousness, and I loathe that nomenclature. The scientific third, fourth, and fifth dimensions, etc., are a completely different thing. So why are we using these terms? OMG! Drives me crazy. But whatever you want to call it, there is a heart-centered awareness that we are working toward. It's a part of evolving past that crazy warfare mentality, right? And I would like to add some clarification here. We are all familiar, likely, with the 7 main chakras of the human body, the heart being the 5th one. So maybe calling it the 5th dimension works? I don't know, still not comfortable. But anyway, what a lot of people are less familiar with is that there are a lot more chakras than that, including one called the higher heart chakra. And I really haven't had any formal training on this, but to my perception, that higher heart chakra is the locus for the vibration of divine love, and that purer, ethereal energy is really what this heart energy focus in the community is all about, whether people realize it or not. And since this higher heart chakra sits just above the regular heart chakra, it's a little bit blue. For me, almost an electric turquoise blue. Then, of course, the throat is blue, while the third eye is indigo, as we know. And this electric blue heart energy is, from what I have seen, that same energy and light that is pouring into our world and that will eventually fill it up and connect us with the divine energy that fills the universe. So, yeah, I'm not suggesting I know where we are in the process. It's a transformation that will require the participation of every human heart eventually. But I'm thinking that this emphasis on the heart energy that you may be hearing about from some of the luminaries out there, it's a good thing. It's very much what we need to be about or seeking right now. And coincidentally, I think that works really well in the moody spaces trend. It might be a really good idea, whatever your home interior design plans are for this year, to think about setting aside a space for good, positive vibes. A meditation space, a temple, a quiet corner. Best, of course, if it's a room away from the main activity of the house where you can close the door, play soft music, and bring in heart energy in whatever way works for you. My solitude affords me the luxury of being able to set the vibe across the whole house. But I'll admit, I tend to use that blanket fort curtain tent pretty consistently. It's cozy. As we make this shift, I think it's important for all of us to take the time to slow down and feel the flow, feel the divine. I mean, you could argue it's always been important, but I guess I just think that the fact that everything is changing so much, so fast, makes it more important. I feel like tuning into the flow will help us all calibrate to it more easily. Especially for those who are kind of new to all this mindfulness stuff. And so maybe this trend to create so-called moody spaces is actually a response to that change in the ether. Maybe people are intuitively going to ground with their psyches, and that just makes me feel all warm and fuzzy. I don't think I've ever related to a trend more, honestly. So anyway, take from that what you like. Make it work for you. After all, if it's not cozy for you, it's not going to work for you. Okay, do we have anything else to talk about for 2024? We have covered a lot. And honestly, most of it was cleaning up 2023 for me personally. But 2024 is going to be amazing and crazy and a roller coaster of emotion, and it's going to clear the stage for 2025. And we need this year to make that transition. Our world is changing. Ultimately, I think, for the good. Fingers crossed, anyway. Shit, I've been prattling on and haven't given any of you a chance to chime in. Please do so. That is what the comment section is for. I love the comment section. When you share your thoughts with me and the community here, one, I enjoy it, but also it gives me a sense of where the conversation is going and helps me tailor content accordingly. And if we get haters, I'll just delete them. Unless you guys get to them first. Dang, I am getting spicy for 2024. Now, coming up on this channel this year, I have been working for months on an on-location video, and I will be getting it ready for you. My squad and I had an adventure last summer, and we'll be sharing that with you soon, as soon as I can finish editing it. Also, in the spirit of purging everything I can this year before the advent of 2025, I plan on spilling some of my tea. I'm cleaning out the closets this year and getting things off my chest. Hold on to your hats. Some truth bombs are dropping this year. As well, and relatedly, I have an artistic video project that has been rolling around in my head for a few years now. There's some complicated context around it, which is why it's taken me so long to undertake the project. But in light of the growing strength and influence of the sacred feminine, in this, the age of Aquarius that we are all now squarely in, I think it's time to do this thing. And if there's backlash, there's backlash. Of course, I'll explain more when the time comes. So that's your teaser for upcoming 2024 content on this channel. Stay tuned. We're leveling it up, and I'm excited for it. Thank you so much for being here with me today and sharing this transition from the old, tired, worn-out 2023 to the new, shiny, tumultuous but productive year of 2024. May we hang on for the ride and all come out in one piece on the other side. And may we all welcome 2025 together. I will see you in the next video. And let's do this thing. Like filling the chasms in my remaining flesh. Stop, you guys. Inside of all the missing plate. Stop. Can we get to the part of the script that I need? Let's just hit this button 20 million times because we lost our place.